Hello, my friends. Jacob is here once again. Thank you for pressing play and for spending some time with me talking about something that is a little bit concerning, possibly frightening, but so darn cool. I've talked about simulation theory many times on the channel. The information over the last couple of years, it's only got stranger and it's only got more complex. This is going to be one of those programs that's going to get you to go, It's going to get you to look at your life maybe a little bit differently. And it's going to, if anything, get you to understand that you are more than you know. That's right. So, are we living in a gigantic simulation that many physicists and neuroscientists and the astronomers and people with the big brains, a lot of these people, they say that it's a possibility. But is it true? Well, there is a new theory out there by a very smart cat that says that we actually live in a neural network. That's right. Imagine that the world and everything and the universe and everything is like a gigantic computer brain or a simulation of a brain, an artificial intelligent neural network that we are living in, this man says. But that's not just what this program is about. It's not about getting you to think maybe there's more to the simulation theory and all this stuff than we thought. No. This program is going to point out some technology that is just, it's like, people would say it's like magic or the Force. That's what the CEO of this one company calls it. Yeah, being able to hack our bodies by the signals of the brain, the ones and zeros, all those electrical impulses. That's right, people. This technology that some say could be used for mind control. We may be living in the Matrix after all. And one tech CEO she found dead. Yeah, found dead. She was going on this retreat, and after basically saying things like, hey, brain interface technology is a little spooky. She's found dead. Aaron Valente is her name. So, this world that we think we're in, is it more? Is it a simulation? Is it, like this physicist says, a neural network? I don't know, but I hope you're buckled up because you're about to find out. All right, people. Now, first of all, this show shouldn't do anything it shouldn't hurt your faith, okay, at all. If anything, it should embolden you to believe that you're more, okay? Because if we live in some kind of gigantic neural network that this physics professor from Minnesota Duluth named Vitaly Venturin, as he attempts to reframe reality in a very eye-opening way, he suggests that we live in a massive neural network that governs everything. In other words, he wrote in a paper, it's a possibility, a great possibility, that the entire universe at its most fundamental level is a neural network. Now, how does he go to prove this? Well, by not being able to disprove it. Because if you can basically use a neural network and you can't take something in reality and mimic it in a neural network, then it can't be a neural network. But if everything around you can be reduced to just ones and zeros, to code, then it's possible. Especially if you can simulate real life online. which is what they're doing in a big way.
What if instead we took the electrical activity of the brain directly, not the movements of your muscles, but we decode that electrical activity and use that to directly control devices. So we're taking biological neurons, sending that into a deep network, and decoding your intention.
We know on the show I've talked a lot about the big brain people like Elon Musk and Stephen Hawking and all of them that have basically proposed ideas that we live in a simulation, that Musk says, what's a billionth chance of a possibility that we're in base reality. And you have people like Medal of Science winner and advisor to President Obama, James Gates, quantum theorist, the guy who takes mathematical equations and he basically reduces everything to a single computer code, where he then tells everybody, Neil deGrasse Tyson and others on the panel, he says, well, I'm forced to believe that we live in a simulation. There's a lot of evidence that everything around you could be a simulation. You wouldn't know the difference because everything is, as the Matrix says, right? It's all stimulus. So we could be somewhere else, like Hawking said on his last paper, the one that was published post-mortem after he passed away. You see, here's the thing, is you have these two things in science, quantum theory and general relativity, and these two things that they say, mathematically, they do explain things, but the problem is they're very different. Right? You got quantum theory that has a lot to do with the observer and has to do with, strange action at a distance, particles not behaving the way you'd think until you actually observe them, and then so somehow we're part of the creation process. Quantum theory, which doesn't make a lot of sense, but then you have general relativity, which sort of makes sense, all the big stuff, the planets and everything else, and this is where you get gravitational waves and you understand space-time and forever. But these two sciences, they're hard to put together, unless, of course, we're in the Matrix. So Vitaly's suggestion that we're in a neural network, a lot of people are like, I don't know, I'm not ready to embrace that yet. But, I'd like to tell people that it doesn't, in the grand scheme of things, doesn't bother me, because I believe in intelligent design. I believe that there is a God. I believe that this God created everything. So if anything, it just should encourage you to understand that, maybe, and if it's an AI, right, that created all this and then just plugged us into it, like we left reality and were placed into this dimension, which this guy says is a neural network, it's just like an artificial intelligent brain. It's very strange, but got a lot of people with a lot of money that are working on this stuff. They've been trying to take mankind, the soul of man, and place it in a machine. You already see VR and everything else, but there's a problem with it, is that it's still very much tactile, and that's a little slow. So you got people like this guy.
What we've done is virtualized a hand, the full continuous motions of the hand, the dynamics of the hand. I can wave it back and forth, obviously. I have each individual finger is active. If I can decode all the actions of the hand, again, I can decode what the hand would otherwise be doing when it's moving a mouse or a joystick or the throttle of an airplane.
Thomas Reardon, who invented Internet Explorer, is good buddies with Gates. He has this big, group called Control Labs. And you know what they're doing? They're doing some stuff that is like sci-fi scary. Like Black Mirror hasn't even touched on this, and he's already doing it. Yeah, he hacked basically a human being. And so at the same exact time that the human is going like this with his hand, they can recreate it somewhere else. But the problem with this is once you can, without putting in those plugs into your brain like Elon Musk is doing with Neuralink, right? We know he just did this to the pig. We know that that's the big thing, is we're going to be hooked up to AI. That's the future. Well, this guy at Control Labs, he doesn't need to plug anything into your brain. This is non-invasive. This is non-invasive. It's basically just, it's hacking your the signals that basically get you to talk, to get you to think. This is basically hacking you. Strange. And it makes sense if this is a simulation and we're in some kind of avatar body and we are more than we've been told. Now this is where it gets cool, because the Bible teaches this. It says that we're seated in heavenly places. We're already there. Hawking said in his paper that we exist as information on the horizon of a black hole, and as if we're projected into reality, that this is a hologram. Strange. But not impossible. This guy is already doing things that you wouldn't think. This is just from a year ago. These speeches that he gave were just a year ago. What they're already doing is it was a small device. They're able to get into a person and they're able to recreate intention in real time in the Matrix.
And here I pushed away the keyboard and I'm just tapping on the desk. I'm wearing a band on each arm and I'm typing all your interface are belong to us. My shout out to the 90s. And this is the future.
Now what's truly frightening about that is that some people say that it could be used against you. It could basically get you to think a certain way, to act a certain way. I don't want to focus too much on the scary stuff, because obviously the ability for this to be used for people that are paraplegics, right? You could attach a mechanical limb and now you just think and you walk as you think. It's just, it's insane and wonderful, but like any wonderful thing, it can be used for evil. And what better way to control people but then to hack into their Wi-Fi signal? Because that's basically what it is. People I don't understand how this works. Well, everything's ones and zeros, everything's information, like Thomas says. And if you could hack a Wi-Fi signal, that's why you're not supposed to put your passwords and stuff when you're at a public place, because people could jump into that signal and then they can mess around on your computer. They could do the same thing with you. So this stuff it's frightening and encouraging at the same time, and exciting, because in the grand scheme of things, once again, we're not from this place. That's the idea. Every major holy book teaches that we're not from here, we're sent here, and we're on an experience. And the idea is now to set people free from the lies they believe, because everybody's suffering. It's almost like people forgot. They forgot the truth of who they are, and they died and began to believe that they were the idea of who they think they are. That first man, almost like an avatar. Interesting, right? Come into this world. Why do you think babies are so cute walking around and so excited? Life is so cool because they're experiencing it. But then after a while, because of all the input, basically like a computer, the brain is very similar to a computer, right? They're already recreating brains online. This a year ago, they recreated like a worm. That was a while ago. Now they're recreating whole animals. There was a series that I watched on through Hulu, which was all about this guy using this quantum computer that could basically hack into anything on the timeline and then could digitize himself and his soul in a universe. That's what this guy's basically doing in real time already. Now this is where it becomes like a little bit of a mystery, okay? About a year ago, the CEO of Tinker, that's like a big tech company, right? Her name was Aaron Valente. She died, but no one knows why she died, because she was supposed to be honored for, a woman in excellence in this field. She went on this retreat in October. I think it was October 1st she went out, and then 7 days later, right? She makes a frantic call to her mom and her husband, and she's talking to them, and you know what she says to him? Now, this is somebody who would have access to the bigwigs, right? The bigwigs, like somebody like Thomas Reardon at Control Labs, like these people, would have access to them. She basically says, it's a thought experiment. We're all in the matrix. They didn't understand. Her husband, who's a psychiatrist, he's like, she doesn't have mental problems. She's a very educated, very well-rounded person. Her mother has never known her to act this way. She goes on this conference, she goes to this retreat, this empowerment retreat, where you basically you hone into your skills of creation. And then she met with some friends in Silicon Valley. And next thing you know, she's calling everybody and she's flipping out, scaring people. And then like 5 days later, she's dead. She's in the back of her car, passed away. Back of her car. The car just sat there. No one knew where she was. And you know what they said? The autopsy revealed that she died of a manic episode. Yeah, they said she went crazy and died. So here's where it gets a little strange, right? This is where it gets a little interesting. Aaron, before one of her last posts was about this brain interface technology. She wrote, she died October 14, 2019, but Aaron Valente, who was the founder of Tinker, right? This bigwig, who was about to get an award in a couple of days, has a manic episode, they say, and passes away. Stays and is dead for 5 days in her car. Nobody knew about it in a nice neighborhood. It was very strange. So a lot of people, there's a lot of conspiracies out there. They're like, she uncovered something. She knew something. That's why she made the call. She's like, it's a thought experiment. None of it's real. We're all in the matrix. Conspiracies range from, she was enlightened and she left, went back to where she was from. Other experiments where she was put to death because she was also involved in human trafficking. She was a big proponent of helping people in that situation. Or because one of the last posts she made was about this Control Labs. The future of brain-machine interface is non-invasive. This is what she posted. Instead of surgical implants, Control Labs uses state-of-the-art detection and machine learning to read your neurons from outside the body, to read your mind, and then throw it somewhere else or throw it back at you. Very strange. The first step will be a technology precisely picking up the signals from inside your body to control devices outside of it with a little more than a natural gesture. In other words, the idea here, and you see him showing how you can type just by thinking it, the idea here is that you can do anything you want, right? You can be anything you want. Listen to what he says about becoming an octopus.
It allows you to go and really dream and do something kind of exotic, like dream about having 8 arms and to propel yourself like an octopus. To not be victimized by your muscles.
Control Labs is pioneering something entirely new at the intersection of biology and code. He did this by assembling a rare group of scientists and technologists, PhDs in computational neuroscience, biomechanics, paired with hackers, encoders, experiments in signal processing, machine learning, and human-computer interaction and industrial designers. This guy did everything. But the question is, neurocontrol is mind control. And that, my friends, is spooky. So when she reached out to her mom, when she reached out to her husband, and they tried to calm her down, tried to stay with her, right? She was giddy. We're all in the matrix. It's all a game, a thought experiment. Now, do I believe that we live in the matrix? I don't care. That's the truth. I don't care. If anything, it makes me excited. If anything, it makes more sense. It explains things like the Mandela effect, right? They're just making changes to the code. Because if you have this computational power that just continues to, you're going to have these glitches. You're going to have glitches in the matrix, right? You're going to have the little Mandela effects. If you don't know what the Mandela effect is, I got a big video on it. I got a bunch of videos. I got a playlist on it. So check it out. Look, I hope that this encouraged you. I hope it just entertained you, really, and got you to think, you know what, maybe I don't got to worry too much about these troubles. Maybe it's all a game. And the end result of this game is overcoming and loving, being compassionate and helping people, and knowing that with faith, all things are possible. Because let me tell you something, if they can hack that signal, well, guess what? Your signal can probably hack everything else. So you probably have a little more power over your situation than you know, especially if you get in tune with the creator of all. That's right, the one who created you. And now there's more proof than ever before. So I don't know how anybody says we can't believe that something created all of this. I love each and every one of you. I hope you do subscribe and share. And listen, we're really close to 150,000 subscribers. I've been like literally 100 or 200 away for, I don't know, it seems like a long time because it keeps going up, then goes down, then goes up, goes down. YouTube just goofs around. So if you're watching this for the first time, please do subscribe, hit that check for notification bell, and remember I'm here at least 2 times a week. Well, at least 1 time a week, sometimes 2 times a week, sometimes 3 times a week. I always got a new show, so always come back and check because you can't count on YouTube and the algorithm to remind you, because I may be pointing out some things that they don't want you to know. Just like maybe Aaron Valente. I'm not saying that's the case. Poor thing, poor family. All right. I love each and every one of you. Hope you have the best day ever, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching Jacob Israel. Please hit that like button, leave a comment, subscribe, and share this channel around. If these shows have helped you, help Jacob to reach more any way you can, and have the best day ever.